It's Friday. What's up, Spikelings? I'm the master of modern brewing, the man carrying this Twitch category, Aspiring Spike, and welcome to my Shark Typhoon. I know you're used to crazy brews of the Typhoon, but today we're playing a good deck with Jeskai Murktide good deck. Will the deck live up to its name, or will our dreams crash and burn like so many chess drafts? Only times will tell, so remember to sub, like, comment, follow, hit the bell icon, buy a CP Pro sub, plays Clothless. It is Friday. So now think of the 16 months, and I have a deck tech for Da Vinci. I was going to quickly go over this list where we've been playing a lot of this deck, and recently, Jeskai Murktide deck did top 8 the PTQ. I do think that this is the best way to build the archetype, or like this style is the best way to build the archetype going forward. I have cut the 2 considers for the 19th land and the first main deck copy of Teferi for today, where I just want it to be a little bit grindier, I feel. At least right now. Like, a lot of these games when you're playing with Ragavan DRC are just about trading card for card every single turn and grinding your opponent into dust. And when you draw a card like these, it's all of a sudden you just can't, like, trade with them super efficiently, and then you're kind of toast. At least in my opinion and my experience playing against these style of decks. Like, it is cool that there is, like, some overlap here, and, like, in theory you can have some grindy turns with Underworld Breach, but I think, like, that's more of a, like, those turns don't outweigh the negatives, and I think that I generally don't like the archetype. Let me see what I would do here. Attack with Ragavan first with Counterspell up. Ooh, got to connect. You go Channeler Bauble. Definitely going to keep an iteration and then crack now so that we can counterspell and still have the iteration. So yeah, I would recommend picking a lane, being more of a breach deck or more of a DRC Ragavan deck, and honestly, like, the DRC Ragavan plan seems so much better. You just don't have to put Profane Tutor in the deck. I don't think I really have too many other notes. Like, I don't think, like, the way you've built it is bad. I just think that the general archetype is not very competitive. I think I'm going to go ahead and fire off a lightning bolt here. It'd be really cool to find Delirium. We missed on the Surveil, but I think that the Thought Scour gives us a good enough chance to find Delirium. I'm just going to fire it off main phase. Put one of my 2 fountains in the yard, but we have the treasure tokens if we need white mana. Still no Delirium. We need to hit a sorcery or creature. There's the creature. Got a Counterspell on top. Yeah. I think that right now with how grindy the format is, the main deck Teferi makes a lot of sense to me. Graveyard the second Unholy Heat. Not gonna fire off the iteration now. Just pass back. Our opponent has Counterspell, then 5 other cards. No Supreme Verdict is fantastic for us. I think let's fire one of these off main phase. Let's go hand, bottom, exile. Yeah, I don't want to play another creature onto this board. I will heat the Channeler now so that I get value off the Surveil. Maybe Scoured too. I think I'm gonna Scour them. My graveyard's super full. Why is white necessary in the deck? For a few different reasons. Like one, it's important to understand that the white splash doesn't cost you very much. Like, splashing white is, like, pretty easy in this deck. And the white splash for Prismatic Ending and Teferi helps you a lot against the blue-white control matchup, against the Hammer Time matchup. As well as a few other, like, Prismatic Ending gives you just, like, an answer to Chalice, Rest in Peace, all these cards are the Hammer Time, Teferi Time Raveler, and Prismatic Ending is already, like, one of the best cards in the format. It's a sorcery that helps you with your Delirium counts. It helps you with Murktide Regent and Channeler. And then you also get access to premium white sideboard cards like Wear Tear, Blossoming Calm, more copies of Teferi, Dovin's Veto. And so it's like, not only is your, like, do you make your worst matchups better by splashing white, your overall power level is a lot higher, while just and your mana base is like a little bit worse, but it's very easy to splash the endings. Okay, so we are up a game against Esper Control. I'm going to bring in the rest of these Teferis here. And then I think that usually I go down on the Lightning Bolts in this matchup, but I want some amount of endings for... Well, I guess if they're Esper, are we supposed to infer that they're playing Chalice? Maybe I'm going to kind of hedge against Chalice. Just play only 2 endings. Usually I would play more, though. And then if we see more for game 3, we'll play more. Sometimes I play Wear Tear instead of ending 2 because the instant speed matters a lot. But against like Esper, where they could be playing like anything, I could be playing Dakin. I'll keep in the endings. Don't you feel this deck is on the downswing to do Solitude? I do. I'm also predicting Solitude is going... Like, Solitude I think is already slightly on the downtick. And I think that Solitude is going to continue to swing down. Like blue-white control is not as popular as it was. The Reanimator deck is somewhat popular, but this matchup is like, or that matchup is still pretty fine, I feel. Okay, so they're playing Opt, so no Chalice. Oh, that's bad for us. Yeah, I would say that Solitude is already starting to decline in popularity. What's my plan against John? Just people ask that kind of question a lot, like what's my plan against Jund, but it's or like those kinds of matchups, but they're like super grindy matchups, and they play very similarly to... Hold on, let's go hand, bottom, Exile. I mean, just like any other mid-range matchup, like you're hoping to make value plays. Murktide Regent is super hard to kill. Sticking Murktide Regent is like the best thing you can do against them, but it's just like any other grindy matchup. It's not like... I don't think you need to have like a particular plan for it. Murktide's pretty hard to kill. They have a few answers. You can play Murktide with Counterspell up, and that usually wins you the game. Opinions on the 4-color creativity list floating around. I've never been a huge fan of that archetype, but I think it's probably... I think they're fine. Alright, I'll leave that on top. I might shuffle it away, but I'll just leave myself the action. Okay, they conceded. They conceded. We're on the draw in the middle of the 6. I think I'll keep this. Put back the Channeler. No, put back the Bolt in the blind. Yeah, there's like no way to like have a good matchup against every deck in the format, but like against the decks that have been winning the tournaments and doing really well, Tron is I think super well positioned, and you're gonna have some bad matchups, but you could just win them, right? Just win your bad matchups. You have no graveyard hate? Yeah, people, like, whenever I play this deck, people go, no graveyard hate. But you have a lot of counterspells against Reanimator and Living End. You have Exile-based effects for... Oh, boy. You have Exile-based effects for Kroxa and Murktide Regent. And Dredge is starting to make a little bit of a comeback in the format, but I'm just kind of okay trying to dodge it. And you can also just kill Dredge with Murktide sometimes. Like, I've actually won, like, a surprising amount of game ones with this archetype, just Murktiding them. Alright, they put Murktide Regent and Polluted Delta into their graveyard. Grixis Phoenix. Yeah, no costume today. I should be in tomorrow. Esther was gonna dye my hair last night, and then she had a test yesterday. She was really tired after it, so we're gonna dye it tonight and try to be in costume tomorrow. Yeah, I know we need a red source. I would have kept this on... I would have mulled a 6 if this were a 7, but it was already a 6. No, not pink again. It's a different color for the costume. Oh, this version is good. I can't justify the loss of mana consistency to blue-red. Can I sell it to me? I mean, we've already had this conversation like twice today, but the splash is pretty easy, and it really increases your... It makes your bad matchups so much better, and it also it also increases your overall power level of the deck without diminishing the consistency very much. BT, thank you for the 31 or the raid. Hope you're having a good day, buddy. Appreciate that. You're good, Arik. No worries. If I cared that much about repeating myself all the time, I just wouldn't do it. Will I play Mono Green in the Mon Challenge? And I'm probably going to play Fiddlebender tomorrow. Because I've been really liking that deck. It's been pretty good. And just whenever I have a new brew that is like performing well in the leagues, I like to play it in the challenge that weekend just to see how it fares in like that more competitive environment. Thank you, Ham. Okay, the Thought Scour is pretty good with the Regent. We already have another Iteration in our hand. Iteration is so powerful. I think I'm just going to keep that over the Thought Scour. So I don't know what's going on over here, but to be honest, I don't really feel too worried about it. What's Fiddlebender? You can look at the Stream Decker or on Twitter for it, but it's a mono-white mid-range deck with Urza Saga, Esper Sentinel, Stoneforge Mystic, a Genius Smith, and an Oswald Fiddlebender from the AFR set, which is kind of like a birthing pod for creatures. Or sorry, for artifacts. You can sack an artifact. It's a 2-mana 2/2, spin a white, tap it, sacrifice an artifact, get an artifact with that mana value +1. And you have just like a lot of value lines with that card, and like a lot of like artifact disruptive elements to get as well. And the deck's been pretty good. Been playing a lot on stream this week. Hands. Bottom Exile. Could have played a 5/5 Murktide, but I think I want my Murktide to be pretty big because they're also playing Murktide. Slice, thank you for Twitch Prime. Appreciate you. Yeah, birthing pod for artifacts. Yeah, Nettlecyst is definitely a big part of it too. It's also playing Lightning Greaves. Lightning Greaves is sick in that deck. Greaves is so good with Urza Saga, where you get to go turn 2 Saga, turn 3 make a token attack, make a token attack. It's really good with Fiddlebender too. I've been really liking the deck. So I want to play, I think, Teferi Time Raveler first here. This way, if they counter the Teferi, I have Delirium. Eat, thank you for the Twitch Prime. Appreciate you. And then we just get to kill Teferi with Counterspell up here if they don't have Ending or Push. If they do, we'll play Murktide. Maybe Greaves is secretly the key to format. Yeah, Greaves has been phenomenal. Greaves has been so good. And I think that a big, like, I like the mono white deck a lot. I will also say that I feel like Greaves is definitely an underexplored card and like could go in some other shells. So you might see me working on that in the future, and you might also have some ideas for yourself to work on too. Wrap with the 2-pack. Is that for a deck tech? I think Rakdos Aggro is still viable. If not, how would I improve it? What do you talk? Are you talking about, like, when you say Rakdos Aggro, are you talking about like the red-black deck that I played a lot of with Dragon Rage Channeler, Ragavan, Luris, Companion, Turok? Because if so, I think that deck is still viable. I've actually been seeing a lot of other people play it in leagues and stuff, and it's still looking pretty good, I feel. Do you like Greaves and Blue-White Saga? I would definitely consider it. I think it is worse in that deck without Fiddlebender. But you could also, like, Fiddlebender's been really good, so, like, you might want to play that card in blue-white, too, is something I'm kind of thinking. And so, I at the time of making this comment, I think the mono-white variant that I've been playing is better than the blue-white variant, since, like, I feel like all of the blue-white deck's bad draws were when you would just draw the top end of your mana curve early, and then I'm gonna keep that on top. You would draw the top end of your mana curve early, and then your draw was so slow to come out of the gate, and the curve of the mono white deck is super low, and it's still a very grindy deck too, which is nice. Best Leona, thank you for your Switch Prime, appreciate you. Luris Saga Miracles, we've been talking about this a little bit. Okay, so no cap. I feel like this card, Otherworldly Gaze, might very strong might be good in a Miracles deck with Counterbalance. Oh wait, they're Reanimator with Murktide Regent. Okay, that's pretty cool. Might be good. Don't know for sure, but I don't know exactly how I'd build it. But I will say that it might be something there. I will say that I don't think Elixir of Immortality is close to being playable in this deck. I personally would not play Elixir, Expedition Map, or Soul Guide Lantern in this deck. I think that your deck has... like, you're basically always going to get Brainstone, in my opinion, with this Miracles deck. Like, or at least you're going to get Brainstone enough that, like, you don't want these, like, random tutor targets, I think. Since Brainstone is just such a good enabler for the archetype, that I don't see myself wanting to play Expedition Map or Lantern in the main deck. You could maybe consider sideboarding these cards. I would not like to. I don't like them in the main deck. That being said, the rest of the deck seems relatively fine, but I will say that the archetype itself is one that I think is pretty underpowered. At least from my experience. I would try, honestly, Otherworldly Gaze over Omen, and then play Counterbalance, and then cut the Expedition Map and the Lantern. I also might play 24 lands, too. 25 is kind of high. Yeah, maybe you might even go like 23 and play like 2 Omen of the Sea. Those are just my thoughts. And I will also say, like, I see that you have Lurrus as the companion too, of course. I kind of think that the deck would probably be better if it played Jace instead of Lurrus. Jace is just, like, so good, and, like, relying on Lurrus is so much harder to do in your Terminus deck. Cherry, thank you for 1. Appreciate you. Oh, yeah, sorry, I forgot about the Sagas. Yeah, never mind. But the Sagas 25 lands is correct. So, yeah, forget about the Omen of the Sea plan. Yeah. Thank you again, Cherry. Yeah, I think I would prefer to be on Jace, and so it's like kind of easy where you just end up cutting the Baubles for like 3 Jace and some Teferis. And then I guess you maybe have to make like one more cut.
What's up?
5
it's me, your friend, Aspiring Spike.
Della, thank you for the cheer. Shoveling some coal in the hype train. Alright, so we got the endings. The bolts. Maybe I'll play like 1 Unholy Heat. Could be too many Teferis. I mean, Teferi's pretty good in this matchup. We'll keep him. What the hell? Cherry with the 20 pack? Of subs? What the hell? Thanks so much, dude. That's pretty pog of you. You got anything you want to say on this fine Friday morning? Immediate level 5 hype train. Warza, thank you for the 2 months. Appreciate you. Whoa! I didn't realize this. Look at this. 20 gifted subs, and then we've got the first time chat. Cheers. The perfect streamer chatter relationship. First time viewer, 20 pack, then first comment in the chat. Jeez. Cheers indeed. What can I swap for the 3 Teferis in the deck? Teferi is a really important card. In the main deck, you can play the 4th Archmage's Charm. I'm not 100. In the sideboard, I guess you would play more Dovin's Vetoes. Hungleton, thank you for Twitch Prime. Appreciate ya. Canister secret account. Adomin, thank you for Twitch Prime. Appreciate ya. Don't get to see live often. Lots of YouTube comment. Glad to hear it. I'm gonna keep this. Hope their draws are kind of slow. How's the hammer matchup? It is much better with this version. It's even good, I would say, with this version compared to blue red, which has a bad hammer matchup. But with the 4 endings in the 75 and the wear tears, and the path to exiles too, the matchup's pretty good. Seachrome Coast. Yeah, I'm up 1 land from the last time I played this deck because I wanted to add a 4/3 drop. And I felt like that should be a Seachrome Coast. I also considered the 4th Scalding Tarn, or a little more fetch land, but I feel like I was fine playing the first Coast. is EE not enough anymore? It was honestly like, in a deck like this that's not a Lurrus deck, EE is not enough to beat Hammer Time by itself. It never really was. EE is a lot better if you have Lurrus, but when you're playing this deck, just explosives is usually not good enough. It is true that like this version is like a little worse against Rhinos, but you also like you do get Teferi, which is good against Rhinos, and you do have Dovin's Veto, which is good against Rhinos too. But like Wear Tear is way better than Explosives 2 against or maybe way better is a little bit of an exaggeration, but I think that it's better than Explosives against Hammer. Does this deck function without Ragavan? Yeah, I would actually say that it does function. It is worse without Ragavan for sure. But you can build a like semi-playable version of this deck that like, you can play locally, and it's gonna be totally fine until you get, you know, a hold of your Ragavans. In fact, I just wrote a budget deck guide for a budget blue-red tempo deck. So like this archetype on a budget, that is like definitely a lot weaker. But it's only it's like one when I wrote it like earlier this week, it was like 185 for like the whole deck. Mana base is built on the budget, creatures are built on the budget, but you still get access to a lot of really powerful cards in this deck like Counterspell, Lightning Bolt, Expressive Iteration, some of just like the best things to be doing in the format. And what I really like about hold on. I can counter that. What I really like about building decks like this, or the budget decks like this, is like, the $200 you spend for this budget deck goes towards like, a real tier 1 modern deck that's the archetype that you're interested in, and then you're gonna have like a somewhat playable version for FNMs and stuff. In the meantime, so I'm gonna go Channeler, Scour to try to get Delirium, then hold up Counterspell. Do you mind answering your previous question? I don't know what your previous question was, but I'm not going to scroll up. You can post it again in chat, though. I don't see every comment, you know. But if I don't answer your question, don't take it personally. Sometimes I just don't want to. Sometimes I'm jealous of the suggestions chat sends out. They have like really good ideas. There's a card I'd never seen before. It was a blue-red spell, a hybrid, and it allows you to copy an instant or sorcery with mana value 4 or less, and then you can spend 4 mana and X, and you just can deal a crazy amount of damage. Dude, they're playing. Wait, why do they have Glasspool Mimic in their deck? They can persist it, I guess. It's kind of weird. Do you do dono deck brew ideas or just not? Yeah. I used to. I don't do them anymore. But thank you for asking. Used to do those though. Preview card or Golos unbanned, which is more important? Well, nothing is more important than a Golos unbanned. So if Wizards came to me with like a pink pill and a green pill, and they said, "All right, Spike, you can take one of these pills." And the pink pill unbans Golos, and the green pill gives you a preview card, I would snatch the pink pill in a heartbeat. Alright, on the play. What do you think about Greaves and Affinity? Could it work? Maybe. Alright, Pie's playing 4-color Yorion, which is I think probably a bad matchup. We beat Pie, he was also playing 4-color at the challenge, and it was pretty good then. Good matchup for the Reanimator deck we were playing. What's the plan versus 4-color piles? Hope to leverage your mana-efficient threats and counterspells effectively, but you have a bad matchup. The Teferis help a little bit. If you start a deck with Ren, Teferi, Fury, Omnath, Solitude, I 5-0, probably not. I mean, maybe, like, you have the ability to 5-0, of course. I think I'm actually writing an article about, like, the 4-color Yorion deck right now, and It's kind of positioned in the metagame, and it is the grindy deck that beats up on other grindy decks. You know what I mean? And that kind of deck always exists. It's like the most... It like just has the most value in these grindy matchups. It draws more cards. It has, you know, more value plays. But it's like I played against the same opponent in the challenge that I won this weekend, and they were playing the same deck. And looking for a land here. There we go. And they just got. I had an embarrassingly bad draw as the Reanimator deck. It just really my draw really did like nothing. But it didn't matter because their deck just has no no graveyard hate, no counterspells, and it was just really easy to ignore them. And do I want to draw that second channeler? I think I'll shuffle. It was just really easy to ignore what my opponent was doing, and eventually reanimate an Archon on like turn 7. And like these decks are horrible against like Tron, they're horrible against Reanimator, they're horrible against like linear decks in general. Or like maybe not all linear decks. Like they're good against like Hammer Time because they do have a lot of creature removal. So that's kind of the thing you have to understand when you play this deck or when you play this archetype, is that you're playing the mid-range deck that beats like the other mid-range decks and the control decks, and you're good against creature decks, but you're just horrible against big mana. You're horrible against like Reanimator, horrible against combo, and that's okay. Like and that's ultimately, I think, it's good that a deck like this exists to some extent. And let's hold up the charm here. And as long as you just kind of understand its role in the metagame. Do you think I should fear the Yorion decks as a prowess deck? Fear is probably a strong word. Maybe. Alright, let's play Channeler with Counterspell up. I was hoping to play Murktide with Counterspell up here, but can't always get what you want. What archetype is Reanimator? It's combo. Reanimator is combo. I would say like the Ephemerate deck, the Ephemerate version is like pretty hard combo. Maybe you could say combo mid-range, but I would call it a combo deck. That's some Fiddlebender, Red Splash for Monke. Red Splash is not free. And it's also like, that's forced cards. I don't know how you're fitting them in the deck. Like the deck list does feel relatively tight at the moment to me. So like, what would you want to cut for the Ragavans? I do need to find a land here. There we go. Hands, bottom, exile. Alright, so if they tap out for Yorion, they just lose to Heat. They're also at 9, we've got 2 bolts. Is Tron combo or land synergy? I would call Tron ramp control. I would put it in the ramp control archetype. I'm gonna attack my opponent here, I think. Maybe I should play Bauble first. Prismatic Ending on top. Oh, if I Prismatic Ending that's a fairy, then I don't get to bolt this turn. I think I really need to bolt. How do I feel about Lantern Control? I'm not a big fan of the archetype at the moment. I've played against it recently, and it didn't look like that good to me. So I wouldn't say it's unplayable. Prismatic Ending the sea on your red source to bolt them. Oh yeah, that was lethal. Missed that. I mean, as long as we can fade, a Omnath, we should be good here, though. Yeah, I missed that line. Good line, Doug. Good suggestion, chat. Yeah, everybody in chat's all high on Fiddlebender. I'm gonna play it in the challenge tomorrow, and I should be in costume tomorrow. I know I said I'd be here today, but Esther had a test last night, and she did well on it, but she also like got home really tired, so she didn't want to dye my hair for the costume. Oh, they get both of my red sources here. Captain Walmart, thank you for the 2 months. Another copy of Prismatic Ending. Alright, let's take the line now. Opinion on Canister's new Song of Creation deck. I saw the title. I didn't have time to tune in this morning. I didn't have time to tune in this morning, but I've seen some Song of Creation lists in the past, and I don't know that I've ever been like impressed by them. Our opponent needs Solitude Ephemerate here. Yeah, I've never really been too impressed by the deck. But I don't know if is there like some new tech that makes the deck more competitive than it's been in the past? What's going on here, huh? Okay. Campbell, thank you for 2 months. Appreciate you. Maybe we are getting some lag, huh? We're gonna bring in these rest of these Teferis. I think I'm gonna cut the endings. Maybe I'll play one ending. I'm trying to think if I should leave in these bolts or not. Kind of want the first copy of Dovin's Veto. Play that over third bolts. Emo Spike. Bonus if you can integrate fingerless gloves. I just have so many fingerless gloves in my closet. I don't know which one to choose. What you think, Cognac? Good luck at the SEG. Alright, let's keep this. Is Blossoming Calm a must-hard Severkide? Yeah, it's only for burn. I don't bring it in against Archon. But like your mana is more painful because you're not straight blue-red. Burn is a somewhat popular deck at the moment, and so like actually having a sideboard card for burn makes sense to me. and Blossoming Calm is the best sideboard card against burn, I think. Yikes. That sucks. Gonna pass with either Double Scour or Counterspell. You went from 5-0 to 10-2, playing with a lot of elementals. That's cool. So like Song of Creation in the elemental shells, it's kind of a good idea. I think I want to hold up Counterspell this turn instead of playing Murktide. Okay, that's fine. You gonna Ephemerate? Okay, I mean, I can't play the Murktide now, but I mean, that was just a 2 for 0. I'm pretty okay with that exchange. I mean, they got you know, a 3 for 1 with this, so they could, I guess, have the cards to spare. Alright, let's try to iteration into a land here. Awesome. So let's go hand, bottom, exile. Clawing back in the cards a little bit. Pi didn't put Yorion into the hand. Might have another copy of Endurance. Might have an Ice Fang. Don't think I can afford to counterspell this. Just open myself up to Omnath or Teferi. If I don't have a Seachrome lying around, a third Hallowed Fountain's fine, or Basic Island. I wouldn't play Basic Island, actually. I would play just another blue fetch, probably, or a Fountain is fine, but I would play another blue fetch over Coast. I'm a little worried about taking too much damage with the extra Fountain. Alright, Yorion into the hand. No attack. They fear the Ragavan. So I'm just going to attack or cast the Ragavan, hold up the Charm. Renin 6 number 3. I guess I have to counter. Shocks and Stomping Ground. Definitely seems like an Endurance to me. I think I'm still going to play a Channeler. Only 4 Prismatic Ending deck, timely reinforcements, from we choose sideboard. We talked about that list. I mean, I do like that player a lot. I think they're really good. But I will say that Teferi, I think, is worth playing the sideboard. Wear Tear is really good. I think Blossoming Calm is better than Sunset Revelry as a sideboard card against Burn. So yeah, those are, I guess, all my thoughts. Alright, so that Yorion is, like, terrifying, but I think I have to counter the Fury and hope to find another counterspell. Bricked on the counterspell. Let me go upkeep heat this. Graveyard. Alright, big brick. Yeah, Yorion gets to flicker the Abundant Growth. But I do have a 5/5 flyer against their 4/5 flyer at least. I think Solitude is still good at non-ephemerate shells. I mean, it's good in blue-white control. That's not an ephemerate shell. But it's not, it's you know, the upside is way higher in ephemerate decks for sure. And it's also, like, better in blue-white control than it would be in, like, mono-white taxes like you're suggesting, because you want to get to the late game, you want to play at instant speed. But, I do feel like Solitude is starting to be on the decline a little bit, and I think that's going to continue to decline a little bit more. I'd be playing clams in the sideboard of Jeskai Bird. What kind of clams? Never been a clam connoisseur personally. Nature's Clam. Maybe not Nature's Clam. Endurance me. I might have Endurance myself there. All that gas in the tank. Dude, basic island off the top. Streak Ball walk so Solitude could run. I'll concede the Ice Fang, yeah, okay. It's been on the play for game 3. And I don't know if I've said this yet. This matchup's bad. This matchup's bad. I think on the play, I want the ending less, because I don't need to, like, reactively answer Wrenn and 6 as often. Or Teferi, I can usually counter them. What do you think of the new card, Fell Stinger? Playable in Jund Sacrifice? Maybe. I like the card. I like the card, Fell Stinger. That's the first card from the new set that I think is playable in Modern. That being said, it looks like the kind of card that's, like, good in bad decks. I don't know that I don't think I would play it in Jund Sacrifice. At least, like, in the version that I've been playing recently. But I would play it in, like, Zombies. And maybe I would find another home for it. But I do like the card. For those of you who haven't seen it, it's a 3-mana 3/2 Flash Death Touch with Exploit. Exploit lets you sacrifice a creature. And if you do, target player loses 2 life and draws 2 cards. I like the card. What can I say? I like it. Let me graveyard that. What can I say except I like the card. Did you ever try to claim the firstborn in Jund Sac? I've played it in, like, red-black before. I'm not a huge fan. Alright, so if they Wrenn and 6 a Channeler, I do get to Ephemerate and kill the Wrenn. Or sorry, Iteration, get Delirium, kill the Wrenn. That's a new card, Essence Exposure. I thought that card was fake. Yeah, that card wasn't on MTG or Mythic Spoiler, right? And then, like, the first time we, like, someone, like, showed that card, it was with a name that was already the name of an existing Magic card, you know? So I was under the impression that card was fake. I could have maybe kept the Ragavan, but I get Delirium if I graveyard it. Okay. Hand, bottom, exile. Let's keep that. Alright, Clam the Firstborn. I haven't played Clam the Firstborn, no. Bolt on top. What, Change in Fortune? I thought about that card. That card, like, probably never gets there, to be honest, but I'd love to be wrong about that. Chump blocks the Channeler. Yeah, I think that card just doesn't get there. It's like that one's 4 mana, discard your hand, and then draw cards for each card you've discarded this turn. And like that kind of effect for 4 mana is so much. I don't really see it getting there, but it is definitely a cool card. So they've got Omnath in their hand. I kind of just wanted to Teferi this turn. Let me attack first. Is it an alternate budget option for Seachrome Coast? Seachrome Coast? I mean, is Seachrome Coast... I mean... I feel like that card, like... You know, this deck is pretty expensive, and Seachrome Coast, I think, is like 10 bucks ish, right? And so, like, and anything you replace it with is going to be, like... about that price range, like Hallowed Fountain or another fetch land. I was playing a version of this deck that was playing 2 Consider and only 18 lands, cutting the coast, and playing I can give another bolt. I'm gonna just double bolt the Omnath now. Yeah, I was playing a version that was playing 18 lands for a little while with no Teferi. So they don't have a 4th land, it looks like. What's your list? You can type !point deck in the chat to always get the deck list. Ooh, we found an Archmage's Charm. We don't have the land to play off of it. Guess I'm also gonna just try to cash in this iteration. I guess I'll put the Murktide Regent in my hand, bottom this, Exile, play, Bauble myself, another Bauble on top, which I guess I will shuffle away, and I get a Fountain to insulate myself from Spreading Seas, and then I know that there's an Omnath over there. Omnath plus Fetchland's kind of scary. They've already used 2 bolts, so I guess I'll just minus to play around ending a little bit. Think of the Twitter post asking if Thalia Garnthurban is Martyr Legacy playable. I mean, it's a somewhat funny joke that everybody's making, right? Not super original. But not terribly unfunny. Just like a little unfunny. Turn's Windswept Heath, so we're going to need to be able to counter the Omnath this turn. It's going to be a priority for me. So, looks like I'm not going to be able to Murktide. Let's go Channeler, Bolt Teferi. I'll keep a second Murktide. Just hold up Charm. Alright, I guess I should counter this. It's a pretty good value play. I can try to save the Unholy Heat for Omnath, I suppose. It's not ideal, but it probably gets the job done. Although it might be hard to double Regent. Double Regent. No, I can double Regent with Delirium up. I've got 16 cards. So I've got... It's going to be kind of tricky, though. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 instants or sorceries in the yard. I have 5 card types. So I'm probably going to leave... I need to leave 1 sorcery in the graveyard. So I need to exile just 1 instant here. Then exile 1 Mishra's Bauble, 1 Ragavan, 1 Channeler. Then play the second Murktide Regent. And then this is creature, sorcery, land, artifact. So I'll exile this instant, land, sorcery, exile, creature, land, sorcery, artifact. Kind of a headache. Save the Unholy Heat for Omnath. We know they have Omnath. We bobbled it like 1,000 turns ago. I don't understand the copium. Going for Iteration. Morning Salty. Flooded Strand revealed. What do you think of this deck against Rhinos? Rhinos is not great, but it's not terrible either. Let's see if they have Solitude. All right, let's go. 3-0. How do you beat 4-color ephemerate? Like that, I guess. It's like Saga in general kind of plays bad with counterspells, where you're kind of like you need to hold up mana for your counterspells at instant speed, but like when you play Saga, like you really need to sink your mana into Saga. It's like Saga in like these mid-range decks is like I think way better in like the mid-range decks that you can just play discard spells and that they don't need to have like all these like expensive counter spells that they want to use their mana onto. Okay, Yawgmoth is an interesting matchup. Not sure how I really feel about it. Yeah, Saga doesn't cast Iteration, Counterspell, Charm. Obviously, like you can win with these decks, right? They're just a pile of powerful cards. Oh, main deck Thoughtseize is interesting. Exploring, instrument Blue-Red Murktide to be faster and leverage Bloodbrain better. Between Jeskai and Blue-Red, do you think this deck has a chance to be on top again, despite being Solitude better? Yeah, I do. I also think that like Solitude is on the decline. I've been saying this just a little bit, not a ton, but Solitude I think is starting to decline a little bit, and I think it's going to continue to decline as people are like heavily overcompensating for the Solitude meta. I think this deck is definitely still playable. It's felt very good today so far. I think it's just a very powerful deck in general. Deck I like a lot. I milled over 2 spells. We do have Delirium, so we can heat a Yawgmoth or Grist. Okay, Geist is pretty good though. Not gonna deal with it. We do have endings in the deck that can, ending does help this matchup a lot. Alright, despite having ending in the deck, I'll just tap this. I can still get Fountain off this if I find one. Oh, 2 lands. Or, sorry, well, there's 2 lands here. But, I really wanted to find 2 spells off the Iteration. Keeping that one, though. Definitely keeping that one. I know you've been advocating for the Jeskai side, which makes it more mid-rangey. What do you think of leaning into Blue-Red Moon, Spell Pierces? I think you could do that. I think that would be totally valid. You would just play like Moon as like your 3-drop spot, no Archmage's Charms, and that would be totally fine. And maybe it would even be good. I would just want to play test it, but I think that like at least the instinct there sounds correct to me. And it sounds like it's got a lot of potential. I can take 4 from my favorite spirit, Stringrootgeist. Because they showed Thoughtseize should we have waited to the upkeep Bauble. I mean, just like, nah, the upside of like finding Counterspell is just way too high. Counterspell is just like so important to find there. Hello. 1 second. Thank you, Esther. Everybody say thank you, Esther, for coffee. The expression machine was being weird this morning. It was like I got it to make 1 cup, but it was really really didn't want to do anything.
It said, it's my day off.
Yeah, it's taking the day off.
It's a sick day.
Yeah. All right, Evolution their Geist. So if I kill one of the Stringrootgeists here, then we get to break up the Undying combo. It's probably a good time to cast it. See everybody saying thank you.
Yeah.
Why Scour over Consider? Scour just is a better enabler for Murktide Regent. I mean, it is possible that Consider is like better. I would just have to like really play test it. But I have played Consider in the deck, and I typically think Scour is just like the higher power level card. Of course, Consider is going to increase your deck's consistency, but you know, in any you know, usually like when you're making deck building decisions, like you're kind of like choosing, do you want power level or consistency, and like trying to weigh the X and Y axis. Ooh. Well, that sucks.
That's better.
Maybe I should let them get Yawgmoth, because, yeah, maybe I should just let them get Yawgmoth. Not that they definitely would have. We've got no cards in their hand, though. We've got a big top deck here. Alright, so I guess we'll just go Heat Grist and then trade Ragavan for Geist, and then hope that we top deck better than our opponent does. My deck is plus you consider minus 1 land plus 1. Yeah, that's what I was playing Okura until today's stream. Today is the first day I've been on the main deck Teferi plus 1 land. Which is, I think it's a totally fine way to build it. And Sack Nurturing Peatland. Oh, no, okay. Well, their top decks are better than mine. We're not, like, literally dead here, but they just get to draw so many cards. We don't really have outs. I'm going to bring in the 4th copy of Prismatic Ending. I usually play the Path Exiles against them, too, but they're not super good, to be honest. And then I don't like the Teferi so much, and I also don't like these Ragavans. I think I'll play 2 Ragavans on the play, and then on the draw I might go down to 0. I think the Teferi is good in the main deck. I think the first copy of Teferi is good in the main deck. You're usually pretty happy to draw it. You really never want to draw 2, or never is a strong word, but I think there's gonna be a lot of situations where you don't want to draw 2. New legendary sea monster, hell yeah. Whoa, it's only 3 mana, but it doesn't go in my EDH deck because it's blue black. Guess I can make this the commander. Okay, I can keep this. Channeler is like one of the best things to be doing in this matchup. I'm going to keep this, and then don't know what I'm putting back. Maybe just the bolt. I know it seems weird to put back the bolt, but the counterspell is just so good with 2 channelers. I'm going to save the Bauble for the second channeler too. Alright, so Runo Storm Kirk. 1 mana, 3 mana, 1/4 flying, enters the battlefield. Put 1 creature card from your graveyard on top of your library. At the beginning of your library, look at the top card of the library, you may reveal a card. That creature with mana value 6 or greater revealed transforms into... Oh no, I put back lightning bolts! What have I done? They went Dryad Arbor in turn 1. Okay, we do have 3 more looks at it, or yeah, 3 looks at a bolt though. Oh no. Do I have to graveyard Archmage's Charm? Charm is so good here, but I think I do have to graveyard it. Okay, whew. Crisis averted. Crisis averted. I'll trade, I guess. Attacks, create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of another target creature. If that creature was a Kraken, Leviathan, Octopus, or Serpent, create 2 of those tokens instead. Card doesn't seem half bad. Card seems kind of good, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of these cards are so wordy. A lot of these cards are so wordy, I agree. Like I'll keep that. Like yesterday on like the preview stream, it's just like I could not read the cards fast enough. They were just so long. They were only up there for 20 seconds. Yeah, my EDH is mono blue sea monsters. What did I cut for Seachrome Coast? I cut the 2 considers for the first coast, and I'm gonna main phase bolt them, try to get Delirium and just race. 2 considers for the main deck, coast and the main deck Teferi. Okay, so on the draw for game 3, I think I can maybe play one Ragavan, and then... I don't really know what I want instead. I could play with the first Teferi. I don't think Teferi's that good, though. My opponent says, dude, yeah, I guess I'll just play the 2 Ragavans. Ragavan's a bit better against, like, the Young Wolf deck because we have the Prismatic Endings. My opponent says, dude, didn't realize it was Dryad. Brutal. There's a new Chandra? Yeah, let's take a look at the new Chandra. Card's literally built for Sea Monsters EDH, yeah. But if I splash black, I'm going to be over budget for our play group, which is a budget of $100. Opponent's playing Summervale. How do you feel about vetoes? I would rather play Flusterstorm if I, like, really wanted to hedge against Veil of Summer, but it's also, like, what's nice about this matchup is you're able to, like, fight their mana pretty well, and so... Put a stop there in case you drew Bolt. You're able to fight their mana pretty well usually, so it's sometimes hard for them to leverage Veil of Summer effectively against you. Turn 2 Grist on the play would be pretty bad for us. 3 mana, Chandra, Dress to Kill. Add a red mana. Dude, yeah, this dress is crazy. This dress is so good. Okay, I also don't understand, though, why is Chandra invited to the vampire party? Like, does she, like, okay, Chandra is a good guy. You know, maybe we could just suspend their belief a little bit, but I'm of the opinion that vampires tend to be pretty evil. So I don't really get why she's going to the party. You know what I mean? She's crashing it? I don't know. I want to know, though. I want to know what she's doing there. She's there to destroy it. Then why is she... I don't know. She doesn't look... Like, here it looks like she's just hanging out. And honestly, the design is really cool. Okay. So 3 mana, make a red mana, deals 1 damage to up to 1 target player or planeswalker. And then exile the top card of the library. If it's red, you may cast it this turn. Holy shit. Okay, at 3 mana, this card is good. At 3 mana, this card is good in Modern, I think. It's card advantage, it's ramp. I think just being a 3 mana planeswalker is just kind of sick. You can cast a turn 2 off Ragavan. I like it. I like it. I haven't read the ultimate yet, though, but like the ultimate doesn't matter that much, right? If I shock it on the 7, then I take 4 down to 3. It's pretty bad. I think I have to, though. I don't think I can afford to tap out here for the ending. Next turn I can go steal a Hierarch and then go ending, tap Steam Vents, hold up Counterspell. So exile the top 5 cards of your library. May cast red spells from among them this turn. Whenever you cast a red spell, this emblem deals X. Yeah, this card is good. This card is good at Modern. Needing to hit a red card means it's super rare. That is card advantage. I mean, it depends on how you build the deck. Depends on how you build the deck. If you're a mono red deck, any spell you hit off Chandra, it's card advantage. Do I like the 19th land? Yeah. Alright, we lose. Bummer. Alright, 3 and 1. Loot is card neutrality. Is English edition for 2 cards good for like Pioneer? Probably, yeah. I like that one in Pioneer. Teferi draws not on Teferi's +1 does not draw. Teferi, I'm saying there's no, like, usually, like, the formula for 4 and 5 mana planeswalkers is +1, gain some form of card advantage, and then you have like a minus that protects itself, and you have like a generic ultimate. This card, like, being able to plus for card advantage at 3 mana is huge. That just doesn't happen. And it can't, like, directly protect itself, but it's got a lot of loyalty for a 3 mana planeswalker, and you can also go on turn 3, play this plus play a bolt, you know, to protect it a little bit. Or play like Spikefield Hazard too. Scred red! Let's go! Scred red, hell yeah. Let's go! Yes! Discard Demigod of Revenge. Oh, man. Let's freaking go. I feel like I'm playing against my friend Josh, who just religiously plays Scred Red. Ragavan has +0. Yeah. Sure. Planeswalker Ragavan. Okay, seeing Ragavan, I know it's not my friend Josh. There's no way he would show up for Ragavans. What's my opponent's record? I missed it. They're 3-0? They have a better record than I do. That's awesome. Is Scred Red broken in Modern? I mean, honestly, if they just go land Demigod, we kind of just lose. So if I play their Eternal Scourge, they're going to be able to get it back. I think I'm going to shock here, and then if they go land Demigod of Revenge, I'll steal the Relic and sack it in response. They'll just let Ragavan die. Oh, they can play Scourge. I didn't realize that they can just play the Scourge. Dude, Scourge is like the sickest Ragavan tech. It's kind of the Seasoned Pyromancer here. No need to sack the treasures to cast the Scour. I can just do that at any time. Let's go. Oh my gosh, I'm just like so happy to be playing against Scred. So sick. Yeah, it really brings me back. I'm young again. I'm gonna bounce the Relic. I guess I should be able to get the island here. And his Relic mystery card. The second cop. Let's freaking go. Wait, they're casting Relic instead of attacking with the mountain? It's a bit weird. We drew a land. We drew a Counterspell. Doesn't do anything. Oh, they're gonna ultimate cop. Ult is unbeatable, yeah. Especially without the ability to Murktide. I guess. Like I don't know what we do here. Would you? Woo! We lost to Scred Red. That's so sick. Maybe Modern is healed after all, huh? Yes. Oh man, that's so sick. I should probably play Wear Tear. Yeah, got crowed. I don't know, man. I don't know. I should probably play some Wear Tears. I'm gonna cut the I think Bolt is, or Heat is probably better than Bolt. I'll play 1 Bolt, 3 Heats. From a Bauble. From a Scour. Yeah, Alpine Moon on scrying sheets. Yeah, CFB guide on Scred Red incoming. Yeah, I still don't know how Wizards has let Koth be legal all this time. The new Chandra also looks really sick in Scred, by the way. Alright, so I don't have a white source to ending, so I think I'm just going to attack. Do blood tokens have potential in modern? This is the kind of like question that I think is a good teaching experience, where blood tokens, like food token, like you wouldn't ask that about a food token, right? Do food token, like if you saw a food token, let's build a food deck in modern, right? That's not gonna happen. But there might be a card like Oko, or hopefully not as good as Oko, that like makes blood tokens and is really playable. And you should not ever evaluate a card. They kill Ian Fry! Sorry, I'm just keep nerding out. Let's hold up Charm this turn. In my opinion, I don't like to evaluate cards on their mechanic. I don't like to evaluate cards on on their mechanic. I like to evaluate each card individually. I find that usually ends up being a better way to evaluate things. Alright. Scred this. Murktide Regent, go. Alright, Blood Moon, or alright, Murktide Regent, you got some work to do. You're kidding, right? I'm kidding about, am I kidding about what? Evaluating cards on mechanic or not? I'm not kidding about that. You should evaluate each card individually. The actual mechanics of what they do doesn't matter as much as just like what does this specific card do? You know what I mean? Oh, the extra turn effect? I mean, that card's not very good though. It's like 7, like the 3 mana take an extra turn, lose the game effects. Like those cards are usually not very competitive. They've been printed a lot. They basically never do anything. All right, I guess I'll just die to another Demigod of Revenge. Yeah. They basically never do anything. I'm not like too worried about it. And 7 mana sorcery speed, take an extra turn with no like birds or anything. I'm not too worried about that either. No, they can't attack me down to 1. They have to chump block with a Demigod. That's a castable spell. Yeah, I guess I keep this in case they, like, draw another Demigod to chump block with next turn. I guess they would just kill me if they drew another Demigod, though. You can pay 7 to cast it for regular extra turn. You can still copy it. I mean, a 7 mana sorcery speed time walk effect that exiles itself is not a problem in Standard. It's not. It is not going to be an issue, I promise you. With no like extra value from the birds, it's not going to be a problem. I 100% guarantee like this card is not going to be a problem in Standard. And if it is, you know, you can clip this, I guess. Yeah, you can duress it. It's not going to be a problem. It's like people don't understand. I don't know. I'm not super in tune with Standard, so you have to take everything I say with a little bit of a grain of salt. But I think that when like specifically talking about like Aldrin's Epiphany impacts on Standard, people don't realize like how crazy it is that card makes 2 bird tokens. When your extra turn gives you anything else, it's just pretty absurd. Where like an extra turn is like whenever you cast it, it's at the very minimum a 0 mana cycle, you know? and then just 0 mana cycle, make 2 1/1s is absurd, and that's like the floor on the card. I know it's like something you can only do in the late game, but the birds on that are insane. The fact that you can't Thought Seize it because of the foretell is also makes that card really, really absurd. This card doesn't have those problems, you know? And obviously, like, taking extra turn effects aren't, like, fun to play against, but this one seems, like, super underpowered compared to Uldren's Epiphany. Or, like, Nexus of Fate. And Nexus of Fate, like, shuffling back and being cast turn after turn was the problem there. That's why Time Walk sucks. Yeah, I mean, that's not what I'm saying. It's, like, I don't know, like these cards are really expensive, so a lot of times you are just casting them for no value. But like when the floor on the card is 0 mana, 0 mana, draw a card, 2 1/1s, it's just like, you know, the floor is really, really high. Saying a card can be dressed as a bad argument. It's not a bad argument in this specific case because what they're talking about is, I guess I should wait to play on Dash. Like, Uldren's Epiphany is a problem in Standard because you can't, not being able to discard it is, like, a big buff in Standard. So, like, they're not just saying, like, they're just comparing it to Uldren's Epiphany and the feel-bad moments that card creates. So I'm going to play Dragon Rage's Channeler and not Ragavan here, so that way if they Blood Moon me, I can dash Ragavan and then tear next turn. Yeah, people have been saying I've been dropping frames today. We'll see if it continues. Yeah, like every standard deck with Uldren's Epiphany, no matter how behind they are, they just have the out to draw like 3 Epiphanies in a row and have a huge army of birds, you know? Alright, so again, I just wouldn't be too worried about this one. Alright, we can keep that. They didn't have the fight in them, I guess. They had the mulligan pretty low, unfortunately. Alright, so we 4-1 that league, losing to Yawgmoth. Pretty good league. Ooh, a Chitter Spitter. Bioessence Hydra. I've always loved the art on Bioessence Hydra. I'm gonna run back this league. Like in this deck.